Private sector creates these jobs. Our job is to put in place policies that make America the easiest and the best place in the world for people to do that. And if we do that, our private sector is going to take care of the rest. Our private sector is going to create millions of 21st century jobs. And 21st century jobs pay a lot more than 20th century jobs. Those new jobs will require more skills than jobs have ever required, which is why the second thing we have to do in this country is make it easier and cheaper for people to acquire the skills they need for a better paying job. For me, that begins with vocational training. For the life of me, I don't know why we became a country that told young Americans that trade school was for the kids who weren't smart enough to go to college. Trade school is for the kids that want to make $50,000 a year at 18 years of age. And we stopped training people to do this work. We need more airplane mechanics, pipe fitters, machinists, welders, plumbers, HVAC workers, long-haul truckers, you name it. We have a shortage in these fields. We have good jobs available, and we don't train people to do that work anymore. I will be the vocational education president. First, I will use the bully pulpit of the White House to talk about why these are good jobs that we should lift up. And second, we're going to make it easier. We're going to open up federal financial aid to high school students, meaning they can go to high school in the morning and they can go to trade school in the afternoon using federal financial aid. And when they graduate at 18 years of age, they're not just getting a high school diploma. They are getting an industry certification, and they are ready to go work at the paint and body shop making $40,000 a year, as a welder making $50,000 a year, and it's only up from there. We also need to help non-traditional students, people that have to raise children and are working full-time and want to go back to school and get a degree so they can get a raise or a better job, but they can't. They can't because they have to work full-time and raise a family. And they can't drop everything for 2 years to sit in a classroom. And so, what do they want? So what we need to do is make it easier for them to acquire those skills. And how do you do that? By having an alternative to traditional higher education that says you can get credit for what you've already learned on your own. Like if you served in the military for 5 years, and we thank you for your service if you're here today, and you served a tour of duty in the Middle East, I don't know, I think that's worth 3 credit hours in Middle Eastern affairs. Don't you? If you've been a receptionist at a law firm for 10 years, you're telling me you haven't learned anything in those 10 years you've been there? Of course you have. Give people credit for what they can prove they already know. What they learned on their own through work experience, life experience, military experience, free online coursework. And then whatever you're missing to complete a degree, allow them to learn it from a variety of sources, not just one school. Allow them to package learning from online coursework, weekend classes, more self-directed learning. There's some incredible free online coursework from MIT and some of the finest institutions in the world that you can complete this coursework and prove your competency. Why is that important? Because suddenly that single mother that works as a home health aide for $9 an hour is that much closer to being a dental hygienist making $55,000 a year. This is important. It opens doors to opportunities that today are closed to people because they can't go back to school, they can't afford it, and they do not have the time. We're still going to have traditional four-year schools. Because otherwise, how would we have college football? So we're going to have 4 years. That's really not much of a joke, it's true. But anyway, but we can't continue to have young people straddled with thousands of dollars in loans. We have $1.2 trillion of student loan debt in America. It used to be higher, but I paid off my loans 3 years ago. With this wonderful book called An American Son. It's available on paperback. You have it? There it is. That's the hardcover. That's even better. I never would have paid off those loans had I not written that book. I would have been paying them until I was 59 or 60 years of age. You have millions of young Americans today stuck with these loans. Sometimes they used it to pay for a degree that didn't lead to a job. Sometimes they didn't even finish the degree. They have no degree, but they have a loan. This is a real problem. How do we deal with it? The first thing is we create alternatives to student loans, especially for graduate students, because that's where the real loan debt comes, really gets big. And I've innovated this idea called a student investment plan, which allows a promising student to go to a private investment group and have them pay your tuition the way they would invest in a startup company. And if you're successful, they're going to make their money back with a profit. And if you're not successful, they made a bad investment. It's better than a loan, though, because it doesn't go on your credit report, and all the risk is on the investment group. I'm not saying that's for everyone. I am saying for many promising students, especially in high-demand fields, it's a much better alternative than borrowing $80,000 from a loan program that you'll be paying interest on for a long time. I also think we need to provide students with more information. When I'm president, before you take out a loan, you will be told how much people make when they graduate from your school with your degree. You will know how much people make with that degree. You may still decide you want to major in that. Maybe you're going to graduate school, but at least we give you some basis upon which to choose a major. And more importantly, how to make intelligent decisions about how much money to borrow to pay for it. And I'm telling you that if we can do these two things I've just outlined, make America the most competitive economy in the world, and make it faster, cheaper, and easier for our people to acquire the skills they need for the better paying jobs, we're not going to have an economic recovery. We're going to have an economic renaissance, because this new 21st century economy is perfectly and tailor-made for America.